All right, you guys, I have an exciting video for you guys today. I hope that you are ready to chit chat with your girl. You're going to hear a little wisdom from your auntie. I'm just going to share with you guys a little bit, actually some real nuggets. First of all, let's talk about the definition of success. Technically, success does not necessarily mean that you own your own business, right? Success is really something that I would consider to be relative. When I say it's relative, meaning exactly that, right? For one person, maybe they define success as, having at least no less than $100,000 in their bank account and driving XYZ car, living in this neighborhood, having certain frameworks cut out, right? And for the next person, they might define success as just having, whatever. They get their W-2 and they're able to clock in to a stable job, clock out, pay their bills, and get all their bills paid. And for them, maybe that is what success is, right? And maybe for someone else, success is just being able to have enough freedom, free time, right? Which usually money does buy us, and I'm not going to lie. Having enough freedom, free time to just kind of sit back and smell the roses, right? So really, success can be defined in so many different ways. It is defined in different ways, right? Success is not necessarily being a business owner, right? Because maybe, possibly, that's not for you, right? Because when you really think about it, just like for everything, there's an opposite, or certain things need a balance, right? Not everybody can be an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs do need employees, right? They do need people, some people don't want to have a W-4, some people want to have a W-2. And that actually does make the world go round. Someone, being able to fill a job, right? Maybe, and there is a lot of energy and effort that goes into creating a business, right? A lot of rewards, right? Some risks, but definitely a lot of rewards in being a business owner, but not necessarily everybody's cut out for that. So I think first, really analyzing for you as an individual, not by anybody else's definition, but by your own, what is success to you? If success for you is being able to have free time where once you clock out, right, if you do choose to have a W-2 and be an employee for someone, maybe for you, success is being able to clock out and have your weekends off, or, whatever, leave your job at a certain time and just be able to do other things. And that is okay. That's all right. Not everyone has to be, an entrepreneur with running 5 businesses and all that, right? But really, I think first and foremost, it really is breaking down in what ways, how do you define success? Once you have really defined for you, and there is no right and there is no wrong. Once you have defined for you what success is, then you're able to kind of move forward and figure out at this point, at this present time that you're listening to this video, right? What are some of the things that might be hindering you, holding you back? Is it fear? Is it certain fears around success? And I know that sounds so believe me, I was someone who would listen to, videos, or I would see those type of tags where people are saying, oh, are you afraid of success? Let's talk about it. I always felt like that's such a, people talking about mindset and all that, a lot of hooey, a lot of just, whatever, just get to the point, get to the business model, the formula that I could follow so that I could be successful. I could do what you did to create wealth, or, whatever, create a business. Just tell me that. But what I have learned, you guys, and it's so incredibly true, is that it is your mindset is just as important, right? How you think about success, how you think about going after what it is that you want, be it whether you have an e-commerce business, whether you have a brick and mortar store, whether you are partnering with other businesses and providing a service, whatever it is. But once you really analyze your mind frame around that, then you're able to see, okay, well, what may be stopping you. I wanted to give you guys a really quick, a little quick story time, and this just kind of goes into the whole fear around success, right? For one thing, years back, 2013 is when I had really kind of given it a go, right? And it wasn't even a full go because I think that I did have certain fears, and I just wasn't in the right mindset to just keep pushing and keep going through with a business, right? But in 2013, I had started up a store. I've always been relatively pretty good at a lot of visual things, right? Even with the Wix platform, I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but it's not necessarily doing too much back end work, but I was able to wipe the website clean and really built in a lot of little custom things or whatever. But I was always good at more of the visual aspects. And I could think of a lot of ideas around marketing and the products I wanted to sell and what I wanted the website to look like. But when it came down to me really thinking about okay, sales are pouring in, well, how do I satisfy those invoices? Do I have the back end, right, when it comes to business, right? Do I have those things set up properly? Did I have, I did have this big fear of, I'm having sales pouring in from, at the time, I think I was just selling or attempting to sell nationally. And even though I was so excited and, had family, I had the support of family and a cake of yay, you launch. A part of me was a little bit afraid of okay, well, if I'm really successful, I'm going to be poor, am I going to be able, I did have questions of am I really going to be able to fulfill these orders? I had the boxes, I had the merchandise, I had everything, I had the packaging and all that. But hindsight, I don't even think I had the stuff set up properly. I did not have, I didn't do any type of testing, where I recommend that when you do set up, especially if you have any kind of e-commerce, even if you have a brick and mortar, but especially if you have an e-commerce business, you always want to troubleshoot it, purchase an item from your own site, make sure everything is connecting right. And then too, it kind of helps you to get your feet wet, where you're okay, even though the first, it's not technically your first sale, it may not technically be your first sale, but you are okay, you know what it looks like when it lights up because you have a new, a new item purchased, right? Maybe you got an email that now it dinged your phone to let you know that you just got a sale and you have to go fulfill that in your store. So you just kind of get a feel for, is everything connecting the way that it should? And I didn't do that. I kind of hit a wall. I wasn't getting any sales. I didn't do what I would do now, because what I've learned is being a successful business owner is all about flexibility, right? Meaning that you have to be able to make adjustments, changes. Sometimes you're going to have hiccups, unexpected hiccups that pop up. It's about being able as well to problem solve, right? Because successful business owners are problem solvers. They are A1 problem solvers. And 3, knowing that you do not have to know how to do everything. You just have to do enough research to know how to find the person to do what it is that you need them to do to continue to make your business successful, or to create, a business that is successful. Maybe you're creating your dream team, okay? Meaning that you might need a social media marketing individual or group or team that you're hiring. You might need an IT person, whether it's freelance or you have enough revenue where you're actually hiring a company or whatever. to know how to get to who to get this or that done. That's it. And then also, like I say, knowing how to delegate tasks, not in a tyrannical sort of way, but just knowing how to manage your time effectively, efficiently. What is the best to make out of your time, right? How are you delegating tasks, right? Learning how to delegate tasks. And if you really like the work of individuals, starting to create that dream team, right? So when you need occasional maintenance or certain work done, you know who to go to, or they're already on your payroll to kind of take on smaller projects as needed. And you really have to change your mindset around failure, right? Because like I say, not only is it all about mindset and problem solving, but it's also about changing, like I say, and I believe that from elementary school all the way up to college to graduate school, whatever, we do this whole pass, fail sort of thing. It's bad if you fail. It's great if you pass. If you study hard enough, you should pass. And if you fail, womp womp. No, it's just like riding a bike, literally, being a business owner. I would look really peculiar as someone who says, that they ride a bike excellent, right? Just excellently, right? But they have never fallen. They have never fallen. They don't even know how to brace themselves for a bump in the road or any of that. That would be really odd, right? Someone who excellent, they know how to ride a bicycle, but they have never fallen. Don't even know how to brace themselves for a potential bump in the road, a collision, nothing. So, like I say, really, really changing your mind on it. Nothing is a failure if you were able to learn something and be flexible enough to adjust and change things in a way to, you see the bump coming. Can you swerve left? Can you swerve right? Can you be flexible enough where you're going to actually go over the hump? It might shake you a little bit, but you're able to kind of get over it and keep going. Do you have to temporarily stop for a second until the bump is clear? What do you need to do? But like I say, definitely changing your mindset around success. And like I say, knowing how to delegate tasks is huge. And then also, I wanted to say this and I'm not knocking at all. I'm not knocking. There's a lot of channels that talk about, you don't need any money to start a business with zero money. All you need is your LLC. That costs $60 and you're good to go. No, there are money. And I've heard this before, but I didn't really get it until I personally became a business owner. Money makes money. Okay. Now, depending on your business model, you might not need a whole lot to start. And if you don't have a lot of capital to start, I would suggest going with a business model that takes very little startup. But it's impossible. Money makes money. Even if, for your LLC, most LLCs, let's just say you have an e-commerce store, even for that virtual office, you're going to have a monthly due. Now, I've heard some people say, you could have a virtual office for $20 or what. Now, maybe where they are located, maybe virtual offices are scaled that low. You could get it at that price. But I'm from a big city, a major city, and where I'm from, it costs nearly $100 a month to maintain a virtual office space, which is required if you are incorporated, if you have an LLC, if you have any of those things on top of the platform that you have. If you have an e-commerce store, perhaps you have a Wix, maybe you have a Shopify store, whatever, but there are monthly fees attached to that. And depending on how well your store is put together, right? And depending on how well your store is put together, you're going to have certain apps that you are going to need to download to make your store accessible. Or, whether it is adding, there's what is it called? I can't think of it, but it's like the sticky cart at the end where it shows you might also like this or you might also like that. All of those are different apps that you have to download into your e-commerce store, right? to make it that much more user friendly and the interface to really work well. And each one of those apps that you download have a monthly fee. Okay, so we're starting to add up, right? We got the virtual office space, we have the cost of the actual platform we're on, plus any apps that we're downloading that we are required, that we need to download to really create a phenomenal e-commerce store. Those are fees as well. Plus we have the cost if we are dealing in physical products, maybe you're buying products. Even if you're not dealing in physical products, even if you're using drop shipping, you're still going to need, and you're using one that is a great, I also recommend AutoDS. Even if you're using that, you still have to put a certain amount of money down to fulfill the orders. It would be fantastic. It would be great that, you have no money and, they pay you before they receive the product, right? It doesn't work like that, right? It does not work like that. You have to have a certain amount of money. Even if you don't have the physical product, you're going to have a certain amount of money. Let's say you are using drop shipping, you're going to have a certain amount of money to fulfill that order. Even though you're going to get it back, hopefully plus some, once that order is fulfilled, you still have to have that startup capital. Okay. So, I'm saying that not to deter anybody at all, but it's also to let you know that, there's so many channels, and even those channels, like I say, it's not to knock them, because they're, I feel like even they serve a purpose, in a sense, meaning that, for some, maybe if people really, if they didn't believe that it cost nothing to start, maybe they just never start, right? I was one of those that was like, oh yeah, it costs nothing to start. And then I saw, okay, well, it's this fee and that fee. But because, like I say, I've learned to become a problem solver, and you just keep going. We're relentless with this. We find a way, we make sure that, certain things are getting paid until revenue started flowing in, and you just keep going with it. But I do suggest to either save up if you know that you're wanting to go full on, right, in your own business, and you are working a 9-to-5. I suggest highly to save up. There are different working capital, this and that, but even those working capital loans for startups that are under 6 months, under a year, or I should say under a year, maybe 6 months, they're still going to rely on your personal credit. So if you don't have the best personal credit, you're still not going to be able that easily to have access to, those large business working capital loans that you get. So I'm just saying all that just so that you guys are not too naive stepping into it. It's not a whole lot, depending on the business model, right? It doesn't cost a whole lot to start up, but there are startup costs, and there's reoccurring startup costs that you're going to have to pay. So people saying, oh, it doesn't cost anything. Oh, just start up the LLC. You can have it in 3 days and stuff. They are right. But believe me, you're going to have a lot of reoccurring costs. And that could be a little bit difficult if you're not right through the gate selling, right? If you're right out through the gate, you're selling. Okay, well, it might not be so difficult to, get those certain reoccurring business charges paid. But if it takes the first 4 months, 6 months, 8 months for your business to start really creating revenue, it could be a little tight if you don't have any other source of income, right? So I just wanted to say that. I hope you guys found this content to be useful. If you did, definitely give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe there, and don't forget to subscribe. Hit the like button. It lets me know, as well as YouTube know, that you like this content, so that you get more of it. But Auntie just felt like sitting back and sharing a little advice with you guys. So I hope you guys found this useful. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.